everyone, I'm your host Pensyfan and welcome to the March 2022 Pensyfan Periodical. This is a monthly news series which covers most of the major railroading headlines from around the world, as well as my opinions on them. We have a lot of articles to go over today, so with that in mind, let's get rolling. First off, some of you may have been surprised a few weeks ago to see this roll by the Paradise Virtual Rail fan counts. You're seeing this right, a SEPTA train set journeyed beyond Thorndale for the first time in years, with the consist later returning in the opposite direction about 40 minutes later. As interesting as this catch is, runs like this aren't necessarily new, as this is one of the few qualification runs which occur once every few years, in case if SEPTA ever decides to return service there. Based on the use of an ACS-64 and a few comic coaches, I would assume that if service were to return to the nearby town of Lancaster, it would likely be less frequent and possibly reserved for express runs. In any form, I would still support a SEPTA expansion to Lancaster or even Harrisburg, so this way the commuter railroad can focus on operations within the greater Philadelphia region, instead of Amtrak, who has to consider their existing Keystone service with their other 43 passenger routes. Yet in the meantime, Amtrak recently received funding to increase their Keystone frequencies on the route to 1 train per hour, which some claim would have been the same frequency for SEPTA had they expanded to Lancaster. But regardless, catches like this are certainly rare, and are hopefully signs of expanding commuter service for this busy commuter railroad. Speaking of unusual test moves caught on VR, Brightline has ran a test train with 2 SCB-40s and only 1 coach in between, while an Amtrak Siemens Charger has been spotted leading a double set of the Carl Sandburg. Both Atlas O-Scale and Lionel have released their own models of OLS unit Amtrak 203. The TTCI has been renamed to MVX Rail. Hitachi is to construct a new plant in Hagerstown, Maryland. The Missouri Eastern Railroad has commenced operations. Lake State Railway has been acquired by Enton Infrastructure Partners. Durango and Silverton has acquired Old Tucson Studios. Captrain has acquired Tacargo. Benguela Railways has launched the Lobito Luena Express. The London Transport Museum has won Attraction of the Year. And a total of 42 towns have placed their bid to be the headquarters of Great British Railways. Speaking of which, here is some interesting news. The FRA has placed loudspeakers on top of XNJT F40 number 4113. AC6000CW number 6002 has been acquired by the Lakeshore Railway Museum, thus being the first AC traction locomotive in preservation. Western Maryland 734 is being considered for restoration. Great Western 4920 is being moved to Warner Bros. Studio in Japan, where it will be a permanent display of the Hogwarts Express. National Rail has released a new YouTube series called Great British Journeys. The Simpson Railroad is in danger of abandonment, so once again I am asking for your support to save this little railroad. The Cog Railway is considering adding sleeper cars for their tourist route. BART is repurposing 8 of their retired subway cars for different uses, ranging from restaurants to arcades. Fortescue Metals is studying a battery powertrain that recharges through gravity. A study has discovered the most boring person in the world. Amtrak has awarded CP Rail as their top host railroad, while a congressman has proposed service to Monterrey, Mexico with a route to Laredo, Texas, which will have a connection with another proposed passenger service to continue the trip. A study is underway for passenger service between Savannah and Atlanta, thus restoring the route of the Central Georgia's Nancy Hawks. Hollywood has somewhat recognized the rail industry by making a movie on a high-speed train in Japan featuring Brad Pitt. And French light train projects have received French government funding. I support the use of these little pods and other low-use railcars like them in other nations, especially in the US, so this way pods like these can connect smaller towns to railroad main lines, and this funding approval is a step in the right direction for a little-known but key aspect of passenger rail. But alas, we have the sad news. Former Ringling Brothers circus cars have burned in North Carolina, even though they were owned by NCDOT for possible return to passenger service. The Chehalis Centralia Railroad has suspended operations for the foreseeable future. The CEO of NS has stepped down in order to head KLM Airlines. Serbia is to abandon most of their unused railway lines. TWA has retired their 1200 series EMU, while JR East has retired the Shinkansen E3 series. And Dorito bags will now have 5 less chips due to inflation. Now here's the follow-up news section for articles covering stories from previous episodes. Alternative routes are being considered for the LaGuardia Air Train, this time connecting the small airport with Jamaica Station instead of Metzwells Point, or using the much-discussed subway extension through Astoria. Although I would be fine with the subway extension, I would also prefer something similar to Ameristar Rail, in which the service would not only connect from LaGuardia to Jamaica, but also have direct service between LGA and JFK, thus having a quick transfer between the two airports. That, and their plan also includes service into Lower Manhattan, which could be made redundant by the subways, but is still interesting nonetheless. Speaking of Ameristar Rail, their plan to relocate the Baltimore and Potomac tunnels has been rejected by the state of Maryland, which involved bypassing Baltimore Penn Station and connecting to Camden Station. Although I'm not sure if this could work in regard to Penn Station, I could definitely see this line being a good bypass route if it ever were to be constructed. Meanwhile, alternate options for the NJT Princeton shuttle have been narrowed down to keeping the existing rail service or converting the line into light rail use. Again, I'm fine with either option as long as there's some sort of rail service intact. The Amtrak Ethan Allen Express is slated to begin service to Burlington, Vermont this July, while Tri-Rail will be starting service to Miami Central this November. Hopefully this means most of the flaws with the station have been fixed by this point. Eurostar is to officially acquire Thalys, which is technically the only new line to be incorporated into Eurostar, being to Dortmund, Germany. Stadler-Kiss EMUs have entered service on Serbian railways, while Caltrain has received their Stadler bi-level EMUs, and the Southern California Railroad Museum has completed repainting SC40-2 number 5704 into a Santa Fe bicentennial livery. In terms of stations, Somerville is the first brand new station of the recently opened Green Line extension. Designs have been revealed for London Euston and County Durham. Toronto has started construction for a very large exhibition station, and congratulations to Kidbrook and Coventry stations for opening. In other news, AMPS has released the most adorable battery-powered locomotive I've ever seen, while the Newburgh and South Shore Railroad has acquired GSHX 3380, a somewhat less cute battery-powered engine from Ozark Mountain Railcar. The Portland-Vancouver Junction Railroad has acquired a new SD40-2, while AG Rail has acquired a rare SD18. Labtec has released new GEVOs for Rumo, MRS, and Suzano in Brazil, while retired OBB Class 1014 engines have been shipped to Tanzania. Express Service has refurbished diesels for BDZ. Russian Railways has released their Class 3 ES8. Stadler has delivered new railcars for the Tramway du Mont Blanc, while releasing alternative designs for the same tramway. Romanian Railways has purchased Alstom Caradias, while RMV has purchased Alstom Islands. Skoda has released the Green Battery Hybrid Multiple Unit for CZ. Mobstart has ordered Siemens Vectrons, while one of DB's Vectrons stands with Ukraine. Brookville has released streetcars for the Tacoma Line T, while rebuilt PCC streetcars have re-entered service on the Ashmont-Mattapan High-Speed Line. Waterloo Central has repainted its GMD1 into a classic CN-style livery. The Everett Railroad has converted their number 11 to run on oil, with plans underway to do the same for engine 38. And the Fort Wayne Historical Society has rescued equipment from the Indiana Railroad Museum, including 3 ex-Milwaukee Road F7s. After all that, it is now time for this month's Meme of the Month. This month's Meme of the Month is Penn Central Fusion. And now, the top story of the March 2022 Pensyfan Periodical is VR Group acquires Herivia Sweden. As a somewhat unusual topic to cover for a primarily American railway news periodical, the National Railway of Finland has acquired one of the largest public transport companies in neighboring Sweden, which itself was partially owned by a German national railway. Some of the lines that Herivia Sweden operates in the aforementioned country include the following, whose names I will type into Google Translate because there's no way I'm able to pronounce any of them.
Roslagsbanan.
An electrified commuter line in Stockholm.
Östgötapendel.
A commuter rail service in Östergötland County.
Kinnekulletåget.
An inner-city line partially owned by Swedish National Rail Company SJ Gotland in Oribo County. And most recognized by articles,
Pågatåg.
A commuter rail service in Skane County located on the southern tip of Sweden. Likewise, the company also operates a good number of light rail routes, including Cross, Nokeby, Lidingö, and Saltsjö in Stockholm, as well as a variety of bus routes in the capital city and other smaller cities throughout Sweden. So based on this large list of lines which Herivia Sweden operates, VR Group will now have a significant presence in public transport in its next-door neighbor, as the Finnish government is operating a large amount of Sweden's own public transport. This is also the first time VR Group will be operating public transport outside of their home nation of Finland, thus marking another milestone in foreign railroad operations in Europe and beyond. Thank you everyone for watching this month's episode of the Pensyfan Periodical. There have been a lot of rail news headlines for the month, and it will be very interesting to see what the future has in store for all these articles. Thank you again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.